Live from 42nd and 2nd, this is New York's very own PIX11 News at 6.
First at 6, travelers being urged not to travel for the holidays because of the surge in COVID-19 cases, yet many people are still taking to the skies and hitting the roads. Thanks so much for joining us with PIX11 News at 6. I'm Corey Chambers.
And I'm Kaidi Tong in for Tamsin. An uptake in travel also comes as a new, more contagious form of the coronavirus could be spreading from the United Kingdom. PIX11's Allison Caden live for us right now at JFK Airport with the very latest on this. Allison.
Hey, and I remarked earlier that the parking lot we're in right now, it's full. So people, they are flying, they are traveling. Yeah, Governor Cuomo as well as Mayor de Blasio, they have urged New Yorkers to stay home, not to travel. The governor today now saying that there are plans to test for that UK COVID-19 variant that is very infectious.
If you have travel plans right now, cancel those travel plans.
Mayor Bill de Blasio pleading with New Yorkers stay home. Christmas and New Year's are just days away, and the lure of travel by plane, train, or automobile is strong for some.
The more that we can do to, limit the amount of travel that's happening, and for people who do travel, ensure effective testing before and after, as well as isolation and quarantine.
And growing concern tonight as flights from the United Kingdom keep arriving in New York. British Airways, Delta, and Virgin Atlantic have struck up a deal with New York's governor. Passengers will be tested for the coronavirus before they board a flight to New York.
The United States should do something. That the United States should either ban or test.
A fast-spreading variant of the coronavirus has shut down parts of England and has spread to other areas of the world. 120 countries are now banning or requiring testing for UK flights. The United States is not.
I've always said one state cannot protect itself. Either you defend against the virus everywhere, or it's fundamentally not effective.
There is concern this highly contagious coronavirus mutation is already here.
Customers are required to wear a face covering.
And as New Yorkers join the rest of the country in increased holiday travel, the threat of more COVID-19 infections grows.
We want to test for the variant. If it's here, we want to know it. We want to isolate it immediately.
And the governor announcing today that hospitals across the state will be equipped to test for that COVID-19 variant. Then, if they find it, there will be contact tracing so they can stop the spread. We're live at JFK Airport in Queens. Allison Caden, PIX11 News.
All right, Allison, thank you for that.
Well, over the weekend, the Transportation Security Administration, or TSA, screened more than 3 million travelers. The breakdown for each of those days right on your screen. Look at that, more than 1 million travelers each day. And while AAA expects at least 34 million fewer travelers compared to last year's holiday season, the agency says as many as 84 million Americans may still travel between December 23rd and January 3rd.
COVID-related deaths in New Jersey have hit triple digits for the first time since June. There were 104 additional deaths reported. There were also 4,686 more cases. Hospitalizations across the Garden State have also increased for the third day in a row. The statewide transmission rate did, however, drop further below the key benchmark of 1.
Now the latest on COVID-19 in New York City, and there are over 2,800 reported new cases with a 5.8 positivity rate over a 7-day average. During Mayor de Blasio's daily news conference, he was asked about when middle and high school students will return to classrooms. Here's what he had to say.
I would like them back in school as quickly as possible. What I can tell you right now is we're going to look at middle school first and then high school. Right now, we got to fight back this second wave, obviously. We've got to get this vaccine distributed widely. We're going to start looking at January as the first opportunity for middle school, but it will all depend on what's happening with the larger healthcare reality.
This all comes as the state continues to distribute COVID vaccines to healthcare workers and nursing home staff and residents.
Well, a group of New York City charter schools are suing the city to gain access to COVID testing programs. The lawsuit was filed in Manhattan Supreme Court yesterday by 5 charter schools and 10 families. It claims the city has excluded the charters from the mandatory weekly testing program available at the public schools and argues that they're entitled to the same health services under state law. So far, the city has conducted more than 200,000 COVID tests since public schools reopened for in-class learning in September. Well, Dr. Anthony Fauci has gotten his coronavirus vaccine. The nation's top infectious disease doctor was among several public health officials to get their first dose of the Moderna vaccine this morning. The event was broadcast live as part of the government's campaign to encourage everyone, all Americans, to get the shot when they have the opportunity. Fauci said the vaccine is the result of years and years of research on responding to new diseases, and he says he has complete confidence that it is safe and effective.
Well, some financial relief is coming to Broadway as part of the stimulus bill, including billions of dollars to the arts and entertainment industries. But will it be enough to actually save our stages? That's the question. PIX11 for Bizram has more from the theater district.
When will the lights turn back on here on Broadway? That's still unclear. But what we can tell you, there is some relief on the way for workers in the arts and entertainment industry.
Will this new stimulus bill save New York City's stages?
I'm so thankful that Save Our Stages was included in the stimulus. I just hope it's going to be distributed fairly and correctly.
Tom D'Angora has been a theatrical producer for 20 years and has had his hands on shows like Musical the Musical and Marvelous Wonderettes. Sadly, COVID stole his off-Broadway show, a musical about Star Wars that was in production in the spring when Broadway went dark, closed theaters, and silenced music halls.
This year has been devastating. From Broadway producers, off-Broadway producers are destroyed, actors, backstage workers, costumers, the concession workers, the ushers.
The $900 billion coronavirus relief package includes $15 billion to help them through the nearly year-long revenue drought.
If done right, it should support everyone, from Broadway to off-Broadway.
While the kind of aid workers may qualify for varies, this stimulus for those struggling in the arts will also allow arts venues like music halls and movie theaters to apply for small business grants for their employees' rent and maintenance. The Broadway League gave this statement to PIX11 that reads in part, "We are grateful for this bipartisan agreement, which will provide immediate relief across our industry and a lifeline to the future." Broadway, which contributes $14.7 billion to the city's economy and supports tens of thousands of local jobs every year, was among the first industry in New York City to close completely in the spring and may likely be among the last to reopen in 2021.
What is New York without stages? I think the arts are beyond important to New Yorkers and all of the world. I don't think we would have kept our sanity this year without the arts.
Broadway still has a very long way to go. The arts and entertainment industry hoping that they can slowly start to get back into the swing of things by summer. From the theater district in Midtown, Jennifer Bizram, PIX11 News.
Lawmakers finally passed a stimulus bill, but President Trump is not expected to actually sign it today, although the $900 billion bill passed last night has to be printed and signed by House and Senate officials before advancing to the White House. That process is not likely to be finished today. The legislation would include up to $600 in direct payments to most adult Americans and $4 billion for the MTA. It would also extend a moratorium on evictions and provide an additional $300 per week in jobless benefits.
President-elect Joe Biden with a stern warning this afternoon about two grave challenges facing this country. With COVID-19 claiming more than 3,000 lives per day, the incoming president is calling on all Americans to continue to sacrifice and limit their exposure to loved ones during the coming Christmas holiday.
I'm going to tell it to you straight. I'm going to tell you the truth. And here's the simple truth. Our darkest days in the battle against COVID are ahead of us, not behind us. Experts say things are going to get worse before they get better, notwithstanding the fact we have the vaccine.
The president-elect also made his first extensive comments on the major cybersecurity breach of both government agencies and foreign countries. He laid into the Trump administration for not clearly naming and blaming Russia. Mr. Biden also announced another pick to his cabinet today. Miguel Cardona, Connecticut schools chief, will be the next education secretary.